There is a kind of tiredness that sleep doesn't fix, a kind of heaviness that coffee cannot lift, a kind of pressure that follows you from your pillow to your phone, to your work, to your dinner table, and back to your bed again. And that weight is what happens when your life quietly becomes one long stretch of stress with almost no real rest in between. You don't decide this in one big moment. It happens slowly, in promises and deadlines, in messages and expectations, in thoughts that start early in the morning and don't stop even when your body is begging you to lie down. You wake up already thinking about the next thing you have to do, the problem you still haven't solved, the person you need to call, the bill you need to pay, the exam you need to pass, the work you still haven't finished. Before your feet touch the floor, your heart rate is already higher than it should be. It's not because you're running, but because your brain has sprinted into the future without you. You reach for your phone, and your nervous system is hit with a wall of information. Notifications, emails, bad news, drama, reminders. Your body has been awake for less than a minute, and it's already in alert mode. That's how your day begins, and for many people, that's how every day begins. As you move through your morning, you feel like you are being pushed from behind by something you cannot see. You rush through breakfast or skip it completely, not because you're not hungry, but because there's no time. Check your messages while you brush your teeth. You reply to emails while you stand in the doorway putting on your shoes. You're physically in one place, but mentally already at the meeting, at the class, at the potential problem. Your body feels the rushing in your chest, in your stomach, in your shoulders that have crept up toward your ears. But you call it hustle or grind and convince yourself this is how serious people live. The truth is, your nervous system doesn't know the difference between running from a wild animal and running late for a deadline. When your mind treats both as life or death, it reacts in the same way. Heart beating faster, muscles tensing, breath getting shorter, blood flow moving away from long-term functions like digestion and repair and toward short-term survival. This reaction was designed to save you in real emergencies, but in a constantly stressed life, that emergency mode never properly turns off. You might notice it first in your breathing. On stressful days that are actually stressful months and years, your breath becomes shallow and fast. You don't fill your lungs all the way. Your chest tightens, and your shoulders do most of the breathing instead of your diaphragm. You sigh often without realizing, like your body is trying to reset itself, but never quite succeeds. Because you don't breathe deeply, your body feels low on oxygen, even though there is plenty of air around you. And that adds to the feeling of fatigue and fogginess in your head. When you try to sit still, your mind continues to pace in circles. Every quiet moment becomes a chance for worry to shout louder. When you're alone in a room, your thoughts are not peaceful. They are busy showing you every possible wrong outcome. Every mistake, every what if, every comment or look that you interpreted as judgment. You can't relax even when you technically have time because your brain has forgotten how to stand down. Your body starts to speak louder through physical sensations. Headaches become more frequent. For some people, it feels like a tight band squeezing around the head or a pressure behind the eyes. For others, it's a heavy weight at the back of the neck, a sign that muscles there are constantly tense from stress and poor posture. Your jaw may hurt because you clench your teeth without knowing, especially at night. You wake up with a sore face or a feeling that you didn't truly rest even though the clock says you slept. Your stomach also joins the conversation. Chronic stress can make your digestion feel like chaos. You might lose your appetite entirely when you're anxious. Your meal's tasting like cardboard because your body isn't interested in food when it thinks it's in danger. Or you might start eating more, especially sugary or salty comfort food, using it as a way to numb the knot in your chest or distract your mind. Either way, your digestive system gets tossed around. You may experience stomach aches, acid burning in your chest, bloating, constipation, or the opposite, all tied to days when your stress is highest. Sleep is another place where the cost shows up quickly. When you are always stressed and never truly relax, nights become an extension of your day instead of a break from it. You lie down, turn off the light, and your body is tired, but your mind is wide awake. The same thoughts that chased you all day now sit alone with you in the dark. You replay conversations, imagine worst-case scenarios. Worry about what will happen if you fail, or regret what you did and didn't do. You check your phone to distract yourself, but every notification pulls you further from rest. Minutes stretch into hours. You keep telling yourself, I have to sleep. I have to sleep. But that pressure only makes your mind more alert. Eventually, you fall into a shallow sleep out of exhaustion, but you wake up the next morning feeling like you barely dipped beneath the surface. Another day begins with a tired body and a busy brain. Your stress steals the exact thing that could help you handle it, real deep sleep. The more you live in this state, the more your personality shifts without you noticing. You might become easily irritated, snapping at people you care about over small things because your patience is burned out. You might lose interest in activities you once enjoyed, not because they changed, but because you feel too drained to show up fully. You might isolate yourself because you don't have the energy to be around others, or because you feel guilty about your mood and don't want to weigh people down. Your sense of humor fades. Laughter becomes rare. You start to see life as a series of problems to survive instead of experiences to feel. Somewhere along the way, you stop checking in with yourself and start living entirely in reaction to demands coming from outside. Work, family, school, money, notifications. You measure your worth in how much you get done, how many tasks you tick off, how quickly you respond, and you forget that you are a human being, not a machine. Your body, constantly bathed in stress hormones, begins to adapt in ways that are not healthy. When stress becomes your normal state, your baseline changes. You always feel a little bit on edge, even when nothing bad is happening. You may get random moments of your heart racing for no clear reason. A sudden tightness in your chest that makes you stop and wonder if something is wrong. A wave of dizziness or short breath that appears out of nowhere. You might call it a mini panic and move on, but your body remembers each of those moments. Over time, chronic stress can contribute to real wear and tear on your heart and blood vessels. High blood pressure can develop or worsen. Your body holds tension in your muscles, and that tension can lead to chronic pain in your shoulders, back, neck, and jaw. When everything in your life feels heavy, it's often because your body has literally been carrying invisible weight for too long. Then there is your immune system, the part of you that fights infections and helps you heal. When you are under constant stress, your immune system does not function at its best. In the short term, stress can sometimes stimulate parts of it. But in the long term, that continuous activation can lead to exhaustion. It's like an army that is never allowed to sleep. You might find that you catch colds more easily, that small illnesses linger longer, that wounds take a little more time to heal. If you keep pushing through illness without rest, telling yourself you don't have time to be sick, your body hears the message that your productivity matters more than your health. It will keep fighting for you as long as it can. But every system has limits. Chronic stress also plays tricks on your sense of time and control. You start to believe that you must be stressed in order to succeed, that relaxing will make you fall behind, that if you ever let go, everything in your life will fall apart. This belief keeps you locked in the cycle. Even when you get a chance to rest a weekend, a holiday, a quiet afternoon, you may feel guilty sitting still. You think about the work you could be doing, the tasks you could be completing, the money you could be making, the improvements you could be chasing. Rest no longer feels like a natural part of life. It feels like a dangerous luxury. So you fill even your so-called free time with more stimulation, more screen time, more scrolling, more mental noise. You never give your nervous system the silence. It needs to truly reset. The people around you may notice the changes before you do. Someone might say, "You look tired," or "You've been so stressed lately," or "You don't smile like before." You brush it off. You say you're fine. You say, "That's just life," or "It will calm down after this month." But a new crisis always replaces the old one. A part of you might feel proud that you can handle so much, that you haven't broken yet. You keep going even when you are clearly exhausted. But pushing yourself to the edge is not a badge of honor. It's a warning sign. You're running a marathon at sprint speed. You can't do that forever without a cost. Emotionally, constant stress can open the door to deeper struggles like anxiety and depression. The line between "I am stressed" and "I am not okay" can be thin. You might start feeling anxious not only about real problems, but about the idea of problems that haven't even happened. Your brain becomes excellent at imagining the worst possible outcome in every situation. And your body reacts as if those outcomes are already real. You might begin to feel numb, like you're watching your own life from outside, not fully experiencing it. Joy feels muted, pleasure feels brief, and most of the time you're simply trying to get through the day. At its worst, a life of constant stress can make you feel hopeless. Trapped in a cycle with no exit, even though from the outside nothing dramatic might look wrong. But underneath all of this, there is a truth many people forget. Your body is not your enemy. Those racing thoughts, the tight chest, the sleepless nights, the aching muscles, they are not signs that you are broken. They are messages. Your body is begging you to slow down, to breathe, to prioritize your well-being the way you prioritize every other urgent thing on your to-do list. The problem is not that you feel stressed. The problem is that you feel stressed all the time and never allow yourself to truly relax. Relaxation doesn't mean running away from responsibility or doing nothing with your life. It means giving your nervous system regular chances to return to calm so that when you do work, you can show up with full power instead of dragging yourself half-conscious through everything. Many people wait for some big collapse before they take stress seriously. A panic attack that feels like a heart attack. A fainting spell. A breakdown where they can't stop crying. A moment where their body simply refuses to keep going. They treat that moment like a betrayal, but often it is the most honest thing their body has ever done. It is saying, I can't keep living at this speed. You don't need to wait for that moment. You can start listening earlier. You might not be able to change all the pressures in your life overnight: money problems, family responsibilities, work demands, but you can change your relationship to them. You can begin to take small pockets of time where you step out of fight mode and let yourself be a human being again. Breathing, stretching, feeling. Without needing to solve everything in the next 5 minutes, imagine what your life could look like if you were not always stressed and never relaxed. You would still face challenges. Stressful moments would still come. But between them, you would have real recovery. Your sleep would become deeper and more refreshing. Your mornings would feel less like punishment and more like a chance. Your heart would beat fast sometimes when it needed to, but it would also know how to slow down. Your shoulders would not be permanently glued to your ears. You would have more space inside your mind between a problem and your reaction. More room to choose how to respond instead of just reacting from panic. You would laugh more easily because your nervous system wouldn't be stuck in survival mode. You would have enough energy to be there for others without losing yourself. The hardest part might be giving yourself permission. Permission to rest without feeling guilty. Permission to say no to some things so you can say yes to your own health. Permission to log off when your body is screaming for a break. Permission to be human in a world that constantly tells you to be a machine. That permission doesn't come from your boss, your family, or your friends. It comes from you. And it starts with a simple realization. Being always stressed and never relaxed is not a sign that you're doing life right. It's a sign that something needs to change. Not because you are weak, but because you are not built to carry constant emergency in your chest forever, right now. As you listen to this, your body is telling you a story. Maybe your jaw is clenched. Maybe your back is tight. Maybe your breath is shallow. Maybe your heart is beating faster than it should for someone who is just sitting and watching a video. Those are not random details. They are the language of your body saying, I need you to notice me. You don't have to fix everything today. You don't have to become a perfectly calm person who never feels stressed. But you can decide that you will no longer accept a life where stress is your only state. Even choosing one small habit like taking 3 slow breaths when you wake up, or stepping away from your screen for a few minutes, or going for a short walk without your phone, or journaling your worries before bed instead of scrolling through them. It can be the first brick in a new foundation. If you keep doing nothing, if you keep telling yourself that stress is just who you are and how life is, your body will keep paying the price. The days will blur into one long, tight, breathless stretch. But if you decide, even quietly, that you are done worshiping stress as the measure of your worth, you open a door. On the other side of that door is a version of you who still works hard, still cares deeply, still shows up for people, but who also knows how to exhale. That version of you remembers what peace feels like, not a perfect life with no problems, but a calm inside that survives even when problems appear. That kind of calm cannot be bought, but it can be built slowly. In every moment you choose to step out of your storm and give your nervous system what it has been craving for so long, a chance to rest.